Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This is the Joe Concha Show.
Joe Concha.
Joe Concha.
Joe Concha.
77 WABC.
Well. Tuesday night in the big city and the big suburbs around the big city. I am Joe Concha. Yes, you may have figured that out by now. Fox News contributor, columnist for the Washington Examiner, New York Times best-selling author. I swear, if you told me that like in 8th grade, I'd be saying something like that, where I was getting, what's the old saying? I was getting C's on my theses, A, B, C. I was in the top 3. To quote Rodney Dangerfield in Back to School. But now, yeah, so I'm on my 4th book. Wrote some chapters today. Fun stuff. The 4th book, to give you guys an exclusive preview here on WABC, this will be 99 Americans we really, 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 really can do without. And trust me, all the reallys are going to make it onto the cover. And basically, I go through all the toxic people in our society that, again, if they were shipped off to New Zealand, South Africa, Greenland, no one would miss them. Like a Rosie O'Donnell times 99. That's basically it. And obviously, a lot of humor, a lot of fun, certainly with this book, because you can't be angry about this stuff. You got to mock these people. That's the whole trick here. And there's so much stuff to mock. I'm going to lead off my show with Don Lemon, Don Lemon, formerly of CNN. He was there for years. And this guy actually hosted a show in primetime for years. Friends and relatives are only watching, sure, but Don thought he was a big deal. And then CNN said, you know what? We want you to anchor our morning show with Caitlin Collins, and I forget who the third person was. And I forget because the show lasted as long as it takes to watch the movie Titanic. I think like 3 hours and the thing was done. I mean, all right, it was about 5 months, I believe. But in the TV world where I work, trust me, 5 months is probably as short as it gets. Remember Chevy Chase had a late night show, and they put him up against like Letterman and I guess it was Leno at the time, and he lasted, I think, 6 weeks. And Chevy Chase, you think like he's funny, he's personal, but you take a script away from Chevy, and suddenly not going to go so well. Anyway, so Don Lemon didn't last too long in CNN mornings, mainly because he said that Nikki Haley was past her prime. Which was ironic because Don's nearly 60. So I guess as a guy, he can't be past his prime because Nikki Haley, something like 53, 54 years old, past her prime, therefore had no business running for president. It was like one of the oddest things you could possibly say, considering that Don Lemon was so far up. I probably shouldn't put it that way. Don Lemon really, really supported Hillary Clinton when she ran for president. And she was in her 70s at the time. So what the hell are we talking about here, Don? Anyway, so now Don is like one of these guys, much like Chuck Todd, much like Chris Cillizza, like Terry Moran, former ABC News, like Joy Reid, former MSNBC, like Chuck Todd, former NBC, like Katie Couric, former NBC, CBS, and ABC, all doing now these podcasts from their kitchens that are like 3 times the size of my apartment, the entire apartment I had in Hoboken. And what has happened here in this situation is we now have these people who swore up and down that they were objective journalists, just asking tough questions and not having fear or favor to party. In other words, like, we hold both sides accountable. We hold the powerful accountable to get to the truth. And now that they have their own podcasts, where podcasts are basically giving your opinion, more or less. I mean, if I break some news here, great, right? If there is breaking news, I'll be happy to anchor that aspect of whatever's going on. I'll do so as fairly as possible without so much injecting my opinion and just giving you the who, what, when, where, why, how. I've done both. I was a journalist. I was a reporter. I've gone to the opinion side since. And yes, it is much cooler. Just sharing your feelings on things as opposed to just trying to play it down the middle and stick to the facts. That's great. But now we see that all these people, they all have something in common now, don't they? all the people I just mentioned, like Katie Couric and Terry Moran and Chuck Todd and Don Lemon and Joy Reid, they're all far left activists, not journalists, and they never were. They just took the mask off. So here's Don Lemon today, and he loves going after MAGA. And that's not, when he's not going after Megyn Kelly, it's MAGA, Megyn Kelly, like back and forth. I don't know what his thing is with Megyn Kelly. All I know is that she has probably 3,000 times the audience that he does, so probably an envy thing going on there. But the point is, here is Don Lemon asking MAGA, hey, is this what you, and I'll leave it there, voted for? Cut number 3, go.
What you strive to be is objective.
No.
Is
That's
this what
cut
you
four.
voted for, MAGA?
There we go.
Idiots, is this what you voted for? Why would you even want this job? Is your ego and your penis, are they that small?
Whoa,
that you
dude.
feel that you have to harass people in order to feel like a man or to feel strong? Is this what you voted for?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, actually, I think I'd say 99.9% of MAGA folks are getting what they voted for. Let's go through the list, shall we? I don't know. Gas prices were around $4 under Joe Biden, and now in some states you could get a gallon of gas for under $1.50. Overall, the national average is well below $3 at this point. Again, this is all within 1 year. Drill, baby, drill has come to fruition in a big hurry, plus all those regulations that Biden, well, not Biden, the auto pen had, or whoever's running Biden had, those have all gone away, and now you see, especially with now Argentina and all those oil reserves coming into play, you're going to see gas as low as it was when Duran Duran was a thing, like 1985. Like it's insane where it is already, and it's going to keep going in that direction. So I'm pretty sure MAGA voted for that. Let's see. Closed border. Yeah. I don't think people really liked the fact that 10,000 people, all right, fill half of Madison Square Garden, 10,000 people were coming through the border per day illegally. Hundreds of thousands per month, millions over the Biden administration, anywhere from 12 to 15 million people. Think about that for a moment. The population of New York is a little under 8 million, all right? Take the population of New York and double it, and by minimum, that's what we had under the Biden administration coming into this country. Think of cities like Boston, Washington, Denver, St. Louis, where they have 800,000 people. And then think of what 12 million means. 12 million is far more than the populations of almost every U.S. state not named California or Texas or New York. I mean, it's just an insane number. So, yeah, I like the fact that, people that murder our citizens aren't coming into this country anymore, like Laken Riley. Poor girl, nursing student, out for a jog, University of Georgia, 21 years old, beaten, raped, and murdered, right? Jocelyn Nungray, same thing. West Houston, beaten and left by the side of a road to die. By an illegal that was in this country. I could run down the list. We'll need far more than the hour that we have here, no question. So that's a good thing. And by the way, those who came across, peacefully and are looking for a better life, well, at the same time, social services are completely being sucked up, and hospital services and educational services and sanitation services, city budgets are collapsing as a result of illegal immigration. That is now reversing itself. And Memdani, who screams up and down how we have to welcome everybody to this country, he's the one who's going to benefit from this the most, even though his rhetoric says otherwise. Anyway, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that MAGA voted for that. They voted for peace in Gaza. Yeah. They voted for Iran's nuclear capabilities to be taken out. Definitely. They probably voted for, I don't know, we have gross national product. I know it's not the sexiest thing in the world, but that's how the economy grows. And under Biden, stagnant. It was in the 2s. We're expecting now in the next quarter to be around 5.5, even 6% GDP, which we have not seen in a very, very long time. So yeah, economic growth, wages up. Inflation, obviously, above 9% under Biden now. Core inflation came in again today at 2.7%. That is very, very livable. That is very, very acceptable, especially when we're supposed to be in a recession by now, I guess, by all the tariff thing. And now look what's happening with the tariff thing. The tariff thing's bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars to this country. And, oh, by the way, didn't cause a recession. Didn't cause unemployment to spike. Didn't cause wages to go down. Didn't hurt the economy in any way. In fact, it may have helped. And I said this was Trump's big bet in terms of his first year, and it is paying off in spades. So when you go through everything, including probably the Supreme Court's going to shoot down men playing against women in sports, because, again, if you allow men to play against women in sports, it's kind of like allowing steroids in every sport and just allowing everybody to take them. You know what steroids are? You know what? Really, when you break it all down, it's testosterone. And if you have more testosterone, therefore you have an advantage over somebody who does not have testosterone, like, I don't know, girls when they're playing against boys. So the Supreme Court about to make that a federal law to ban trans athletes from participating in sports, and thank God. The party that's supposed to be pro-women, Democrats, aren't happy about this, but maybe they weren't pro-women all along. Maybe they just were getting pro-women votes and all just for show. So when Don Lemon asks, is this what you effing voted for, including deporting the worst of the worst out of this country via ICE? Yep, 99.9% of people who voted for Donald Trump will say yes. Now, meanwhile, back to my original point around taking the mask off, here's Don Lemon talking about, and this was him before he was fired from CNN, so he had to play this act of being, again, an objective, unbiased journalist. And after what you just heard, as far as, hey, MAGA, is this what you effing voted for? This was Don Lemon putting on another show. And it's not exactly credible when we look back on it now. This is cut number 4. Go.
What you strive to be is objective
Yes.
and as truthful and as balanced as possible.
Oh, I feel like Jordan when he dunked on Dikembe Mutombo. I mean, that felt good. And he would say that over and over again. I'm objective. I tell the truth. I'm just trying to be as truthful as possible. Well, that's why Don essentially is unemployed. He's got his little podcast. CNN's probably still paying out his contract. But what these people want more than anything in the world, and I know this, not so much, I'm not saying this because I work at Fox, so I'm going to say good things about Fox. People at Fox, the reason why Fox does so well, all right, I'll give you a little secret. Yes, our opinion people are right of center. Yeah. Okay. Get it completely. Jesse, Sean Hannity, Laura, Gutfeld, you go down the line. But we also have this thing called a news division where we actually do have the aforementioned objective, truthful, unbiased types of anchors. Whether we're talking Brett Baer, whether we're talking Harris Faulkner, whether we're talking Martha McCallum, Bill Hemmer, Dana Perino, all the reporters that we have in the field, like Nate Foy, Bill Maluzhin at the border. Benjamin Hall, unfortunately, was hit by a Russian bomb in Ukraine and lost his legs. I mean, so we have an actual news department. That helps as well. But overall, I think the big difference, and I've been in all 3 green rooms, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, before I signed with Fox. And I can tell you at those other 2 networks, people there, for the most part, take themselves way too seriously. I mean, they think that they really are more important than you. They have disdain for the average American, and they look down on you because they have more money. They have the car service back and forth to the studio, and basically they just think, quite frankly, just like many people in the Hamptons, they're better than you. At Fox, I don't get that feeling. Fox, let's put it this way. If CNN and MSNBC are the Hamptons, Fox is the Jersey Shore, right? Have a good time. Everybody's always in a good mood. You may notice, like, we smile a lot more on this network because, again, we appreciate what we have. And I don't feel that diva vibe at Fox like I did at those other places. Not even close. Down-to-earth people that wear sneakers with their suits, if they're wearing suits at all. And I think that's the difference between Fox and the other places. No question about it. Anyway, what we're seeing here out of Minneapolis, and I know that I've been going off on this, but I'm just flabbergasted that we have all the video evidence to prove that this ICE officer was hit. Was he hit directly head on? No. Was he hit? Yes. And the thing here is that back in June, this same ICE officer was dragged more than 100 feet by an illegal who he was trying to arrest, dragged this ICE officer for more than 100 feet. He required 33 stitches, obviously, spent a night in the hospital. So after you go through something like that where you nearly die after a car or an SUV tries to run you over or drags you, when a Nicole Good, after being told multiple times, get out of the effing car, and she decides to floor it and clips you, and if you didn't get out of the way, it could have been a heck of a lot worse, yeah, you're going to react the way you're going to react based on what you went through, based on the numbers where you have a spike of 3,200% in attempted rammings or rammings of ICE officers. So this is a thing now, using cars as weapons, just as ISIS did, right? American citizens against its own federal officers. Yes, that's happening. This is the reaction that's going to occur, no question. So while a tragedy, certainly, at the same time, there's no other way to conclude this. She bought this on herself. And by the way, Nicole Good's wife was filming this the whole time. As we know, we've seen the video 100 times of her filming the ICE officer and saying, you want a piece of this big boy. Where's her video? I asked it last night. I'll ask it again. Why hasn't she released her video? Because she probably has the best angle of anybody. The one video that I thought was pretty conclusive was the ICE officer, and then you hear Nicole Good floor the gas after her wife says, drive, baby, drive. She floors it, and then you hear the ICE officer go, whoa, 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 and a large thump, boom, of him getting hit, lower body, hip, that sort of thing. The bottom line is that where is the other video from Nicole Good's wife? Why hasn't that been released? And more importantly, why isn't she being investigated? Because she incited this. She told her wife, Nicole Good, to drive away when she was told to get out of the car. That's against the law. So let's see what happens here. And oh, by the way, the Trump Justice Department had asked Minnesota prosecutors to invest Nicole Good's wife, the drive, baby, drive gal who was agitating ICE officers, and 3 of them resigned. So you're not going to investigate her? Why is that? And to investigate her, not just what happened that day, but her ties to certain groups that fund these protests that seem to come out of nowhere and have really, really nice signs that, boy, they could put together in about 3 minutes, like Hunter Biden, like is on call, putting together these beautiful signs because he is the Da Vinci of painting in the 21st century. I mean, who knows? But the bottom line is that 3 prosecutors in Minnesota resigned because they don't want to investigate Nicole Good's wife? That seems curious. It's almost as if Minnesota has a fraud problem. Because it does. $9 billion stolen primarily by the Somali community. Anyway, Byron Donalds, who probably will be the next governor of Florida, and that's a very, very good thing. I've met Byron on several occasions at some speaking events. And again, authenticity, he is the real deal. He's not putting on some sort of act on television like a Chris Murphy or an Adam Schiff. Byron Donalds, the real deal, will be a great successor to Ron DeSantis. Here he is going after Tim Walz on Capitol Hill, and finally pinning this guy for calling ICE agents, again, the very federal officers that are removing the scum of criminality in this country illegally, calling them the Gestapo over and over again, and Byron Donalds was not having this. This is cut 7. Go.
You said earlier that the ICE agents under the orders of President Trump are a modern-day Gestapo. Do you realize how disgusting a phrase that is, considering the history of Nazi Germany?
Yeah, Tim.
Would you like to recant that statement?
Yeah.
What I said, Congressman, and I have a long history of supporting law enforcement, I said President Trump was using them as his modern-day Gestapo, not identifying who you are, coming up in unmarked vans, taking people away and giving...
Is it the responsibility of ICE to actually deport illegal aliens in the United States who are here? Isn't that their responsibility?
Yes, it is, Congressman, except that the Constitution is not an inconvenience. It's not an either-or.
Nobody said an inconvenience. He have a responsibility to deport illegal aliens, and the president is going through that process right now. And let's be very clear, the previous administration, they abused every process there is under border laws to allow more than 10 million people into the country illegally. And this is a burden on all Americans.
Boom. Walls couldn't breathe there. Good. Finally. That's what reporters should be doing a little more when they're questioning goofy Tim Walz, shouldn't they? But it took Donalds on Capitol Hill to finally hold his feet to the fire. By the way, and we're going to go to break in a second, but I'm going to leave this here. Walz started out by saying that he has a long history of supporting law enforcement. Oh, you effing liar. All I remember is 2020, you allowed rioters to burn down Minneapolis, including an entire police station, $1 billion worth of damage. And you wouldn't call in the National Guard, of which you were a member of at one point, for 4 days, when everybody was imploring you to do that because police were obviously overwhelmed. They didn't have a police station because it was burned down at one point, and he refused to do it. Don't tell me you have a long history of supporting law enforcement. You're the antithesis of support when it comes to law enforcement, much like our mayor here in New York, Zohran Mamdani. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Joe Concha Show. Back with more in just a moment, including Brianna, Lyman from the Federalist. You're going to want to stick around here on 77 WABC.
This is the Joe Concha Show, 77 WABC. Demo, not for broadcast. Property of WABC New York.
If you're thinking about changing schools Why wait? At Manhattan University, love those guys. You don't have to start over. With transfer-friendly pathways, your credits count, and you keep moving forward. From day one, you're part of Jasper Nation, preparing for the real world. And with New York City just a train away, opportunity is everywhere. Ready to move forward without missing a step? Visit manhattan.edu/transfer and enroll today. Manhattan University. Don't start over, move forward.
It's the Joe Concha Show.
Joe Concha.
Joe Concha. Joe Concha. 77 WABC.
All right, bringing our VIP guest for the evening, Brianna Lyman. She, of course, is the host of the Countdown to Freedom at the Federalist. Of course, she writes for the Federalist as well, and she joins this show for the first time. Brianna, how are you?
Joe, thanks so much for having me.
Outstanding for you to be here late on a school night. We really appreciate it. now, I think you told me this once. You are a Fordham Ram. Am I right about that?
I am not so proud of my Fordham Ram recently.
Yeah, another woke campus. Share. Yeah. Why is that exactly?
They were woke when I was on school, very anti-Trump, and they've just progressively gotten more progressive and worse.
Oh, man. You know, my second book was called Progressively Worse. So, I mean, this is a nice tie-in, no question. Why Today's Democrats Ain't Your Daddy's Donkeys, available on Amazon right now. So let's unpack a couple things here, right? I'll tell you what. I'm going to play you a clip, all right? And then I just want your gut reaction to it, all right? Your gut reaction to it. This is cut number 10. All right, guys, and this is out of Denver, Colorado, and this is a Gen Xer, all right, much like Brianna. I have a feeling you don't have a lot in common, talking about how we just need to embrace humanity and just all get along, except for one little section of our population. This is cut number 10. Go.
It's hard to get used to getting used to violence. How do we fight desensitization?
I think by humanizing everybody in your life, humanizing your neighbors, humanizing the people you disagree with.
Sure.
Every single life is valuable. I mean,
Agreed.
I guess except for ICE, like kill ICE agents. But,
oh boy.
and Denver Police Department. But aside from that, we have to humanize each other. We have to care for each other.
All right, Brianna, floor is yours. Your gut reaction to. Hey, we got to get along, everybody, except kill ICE and kill the Denver Police Department. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, she just let the cat out of the bag for the entire purpose of the rhetoric that surrounds ICE agents and cops, right? You think of what just happened in Minneapolis, and they've already accused this ICE agent of murder without even letting this man even possibly go to trial, right? They've already automatically assumed his guilt. And the reason they accuse him of murder and call ICE agents these awful derogatory terms is they want to dehumanize someone. Because once someone's dehumanized, it desensitizes Americans to political violence, and this isn't a new strategy. I mean, I think of President Trump leading up to his first assassination attempt. He was called Hitler and a Gestapo and Nazis. They were dehumanizing him actively so that they could desensitize Americans to when political violence was targeted toward the president and now toward ICE agents.
You're so right about that. As far as ICE, again, I said it in the last block, but it bears repeating. I mean, these ICE agents and just in general, the Trump policy, right? The Trump doctrine of just removing as many illegal aliens out of this country as possible, starting with the worst of the worst in terms of murderers and, I don't know, rapists and sex traffickers and child traffickers. And you go down the list and somehow it's almost like being against a cure for cancer with Democrats saying, no, we ICE, they're the bad guys, and the real bad guys should be able to stay here. It's just unbelievable. We're talking to Brianna Lyman. So I want to get your thoughts on this because I don't know if you experience this at all because you're closer to it, given you're Gen X and I'm not quite Gen X, as far as men playing against women in sports, whether it be on the collegiate level, obviously the high school level. I've seen it on a younger level. My daughter just started middle school. I saw it as young as 5th and 4th grade where there were boys playing on girls' teams, and you could tell the difference, certainly for sure. Harriet became Harry, and that's not a good thing. It looks like right now that the 6-3 conservative Supreme Court is probably going to ban transgender athletes from taking part in girls' sports, and obviously that would be in college and that would be in high school, and obviously the locker room sharing would go away as well. In general, I know I'm asking you a very obvious question because I think 80-90% of Americans are against this at this point, but do you think if Trump won that this would even be before the Supreme Court at this point? I'm sorry, if he didn't win and Kamala won.
I actually do think it would still be before the Supreme Court, but I don't think this is a question that should be before the Supreme Court. One, for the obvious reasons that we're trying to deny biological reality, which is absurd. But two, we have a branch of the government, which is the judicial branch, that apparently gets to make the final determination on this question and so many others, right? Think of President Trump's first year in office. He has been plagued by rogue activist judges stopping him because they say we have the final authority. We get to rubber stamp what you do. But there is nothing in the Constitution that gives the Supreme Court the authority to review decision-making of Congress, of state legislatures, and yet here we have the Supreme Court having to make that determination because their role in American society has went from simply, expounding what the law is, right, just saying, hey, guys, here's what the actual text means, to saying, here's what the text means, and we're going to tell you, 9 of us are going to tell you if we think that's right or wrong. That is absolutely not what the framers intended. That's not what the founders intended, and it's dangerous.
It is dangerous, and we're also bordering on stupid as far as some of the quotes you see going back and forth as far as in the audio, quite frankly, which is nice to have from the Supreme Court. But you have the attorney for a biological male athlete. It's Kathleen Harnett, and she was arguing before Justice Sam Alito. And Alito asked at one point, for equal protection purposes, what does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman? And the attorney answers, we do not have a definition for the court. Is that Ketanji Brown Jackson, morphed into a lawyer now, speaking before the court? Because she said the same thing. I can't identify one way or another. Alito goes on to say, how can a court determine if there's discrimination on the basis of sex without knowing what sex means for equal protection purposes? And the other lawyer for the biological male athlete had no answer. So that seemed to be a very crucial moment. I don't know if you saw it or heard it, Brianna.
Yeah, I did. And I think this questioning was so well done, and it just highlights, the absurdity of the left's position. And it's funny because the same party that is struggling to identify what is a woman is the same party that has been able to identify just fishermen and fisher boats who are apparently being blown up because they're not actually drug dealers. So it just goes to show you the way that they're willing to make these determinations. And I saw something the other day, and it was so funny. Donald Trump should declare himself to be a female and say, I'm the first female president. Because you would see the left absolutely blow up because they'd either have to reject their own argument and say, wow, this is actually absurd, or they'd have to agree that Donald Trump is the first female president, which we know they're not going to do, just to really put it in their faces.
Oh, that's genius. He'd do it too. Why not? Just to troll, right? Yeah, seriously, he probably is. I remember when Bill Clinton, I don't know if he declared it or he was declared the first black president, but that's it. That was before social media. I have a feeling that wouldn't fly now. And speaking of the Clintons, by the way, they were supposed to appear before lawmakers on Capitol Hill to talk about Epstein, and Democrats seem very, very interested in Epstein. But now with the Clintons, they don't seem so interested. And Tara Palmieri, who pretends to be a journalist as well, for whatever reason, isn't doing 18 podcasts on the fact that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton refused to testify before Capitol Hill on what their names are doing in the Epstein files, particularly Bill Clinton. But yes, suddenly Democrats, this thing has kind of gone away, hasn't it? Now the attention has shifted to the Clintons. Go figure, Brianna.
Oh, yeah, of course we expected this. They've tried to make the Epstein issue a Trump issue, but the problem is, one, President Trump is the only president who has been transparent with the Epstein files, and maybe he hasn't been as quickly transparent as some would want, but he's the only one who's released anything. And now that he's releasing these things, it turns out it's not actually good for Democrats. And today what we saw from the Clintons should be a really good point for Republicans to say, you know what? The same way you guys threw Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro in jail for contempt of Congress because they defied a subpoena, that needs to happen to Clinton because guess what? Nobody's above the law.
I've heard that before. No one is above the law. That seemed to be retired around January 20th, 2025. And we're talking to Brianna Lyman of the Federalist, of course. That's the thing, right? I mean, the Epstein files, Obama had them and Biden had them. And I'm sure the Clinton campaign had some access to them. If they wanted to take out Donald Trump before he ever became president, they very easily could have just leaked that to the New York Times in about 5 minutes if he did anything nefarious in those files. And obviously he didn't. Because if he did, we all know that would have been leaked by now. That would have been weaponized by now. And even when Democrats haven't had any bullets in the gun as far as trying to get Trump and weaponizing the justice system, they throw stuff out there anyway, like the Russia collusion or all those trials that fell apart, like the Fonnie Willis trial and the Jack Smith trial. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, this all would have came out by now if Trump were involved in any way, shape, or form as far as pedophilia. And it just is not happening. We're talking to Brianna Lyman at this point. So I'm just curious, as far as I shared my perspective on what happened in Minneapolis with Nicole Good, and obviously the ICE agent, as very few outlets are reporting, was dragged 100 feet by an illegal alien when he was trying to arrest him, dragged by his car, and then ended up in the hospital and needed 33 stitches. So once you go through something like that, right, and a car is now coming at you once again, when you hear drive, baby, drive, you see this SUV and the person hits the gas and tries to accelerate really fast, and you get out of the way, it still hits you, right? Maybe you're not critically injured, but still, once you see that intent or what you deem to be intent, you have to defend yourself. And obviously now we're seeing from the media saying that this was just a woman, a mother of three, just trying to get home and was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's what Adam Schiff said. And obviously she did nothing wrong, or she didn't try to hit the agent, or 100 different excuses. But I'm just amazed at this point, Brianna, that we're still at this point where you have a basic set of facts based on video evidence, and yet the left is still going with this narrative. Is it backfiring at this point? Because I feel like the American people have made up their minds, and for the most part, outside of the far left and very, very loud women that like to wear glasses and have bad hair, it's not really resonating with anybody else.
Yeah, I don't think it's resonating. And we hear this line from the left. Well, she was a mother of three, and she said to the ICE officer, "I'm not mad at you, bro," as if that precludes someone from being, criminally responsible.
She was being sarcastic, obviously, right?
Of course, right. And the left thinks, though, that if you say that, or you are a mother of three children, or whatever the case may be, if you have some kind of extenuating circumstance, you're actually absolved from any guilt in any kind of situation. But the fact remains, to your point, this ICE officer had a split second to make a decision, and given not only past circumstances, put those aside. When you are standing in front of a vehicle and you hear drive, baby, drive, you hear the car rev up and you see the car coming towards you, you have a split second. And we have seen in the past, we have seen one female officer a few years ago, I think it was 2017.
Baltimore,
she was
right?
ran over and I think so, yes,
Yeah.
and killed by a driver because she didn't make that split-second decision to fire her weapon. In another instance, a police officer was saved by a snowbank when a woman tried to run him over because he didn't fire his gun in that split-second decision. And so this ICE agent had a lot of different factors at play here. And the fact that you have people on the left rushing to make a determination of murder as he's guilty of murder is so dangerous.
It is dangerous. And somebody's going to get killed over this at some point, if not this ICE agent who's been doxxed, right? There's been hundreds of death threats against him already. He's had to go underground, in essence. And it's a shame because he's engaged. He's, about to engage in the next chapter of his life. And just by doing his job, hopefully, though, like everything else in the news, that this goes away with the next controversy that I'm sure will sweep it under the rug eventually. But overall, I just can't get over the fact that there are some people on national television saying, well, he should have shot at the tires. I can tell you, Brianna, as somebody who had a flat tire and literally drove like 4 miles on a dead flat tire because I didn't want to have to pay for the tow truck. I was young. You can do it. You can move at a decent speed, especially when the thing first pops, right? It's not like it stops the car. This isn't the movies, right? If somebody's a foot in front of you, you want to kill them, even if you have a flat tire, you can do that. Anyway, Brianna Lyman, we got to go. Unfortunately, I'm told we have to break. But before we do go, obviously, here you are in the next chapter of your life as well, right? Fordham wasn't too many years ago as far as college, and now you're a big deal. You're all over Fox. You're battling people on CNN. How did you get people's attention at first just to get on television? Because that's the hardest part, getting that first booking.
It really is, and that happened for me about 5 years ago now. I was just writing a lot and covering a lot over at the Daily Caller, and I got a break at Newsmax, and that's where it all began.
There you go. And then somebody saw you on Newsmax and then said, hey, let's get her on CNN. Let's get her on Fox. Have you ventured onto MSNBC? But did that call ever come in?
It hasn't come in, but one of the MSNBC hosts recently followed me, so I'm expecting an invite soon.
Oh, there you go. I've actually been on there several times. It's before it became a maniac kind of news organization. Like it was kind of normal. Let's put it this way. I went on Keith Olbermann's show.
Wow.
I didn't walk off there saying this guy's crazy, but this was 2004 when I was about your age, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever because I watched Keith on SportsCenter on ESPN. I'm like, wow, Keith Olbermann show. I'm calling my dad and everything. Now I look back at it, I'm like, he was dating Katie Turr at the time, and he was like 50 and she's 23. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that thing, but just don't date any 50-year-olds, Brianna, okay? Stay within your within like a 10-year radius, please. Don't do it.
I'm safe.
All right, good. Like Keith Olbermann calls, you don't take that call, all right? That's all I'm saying. Anyway, we got to go, unfortunately, but we'll have you back soon. Brianna, have a great Tuesday night. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks so much.
All right, she's great, isn't she? That's Brianna Lyman, and this is Joe Concha, the Joe Concha Show. Back with much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, 77 WABC. It's the Joe Concha Show.
Joe Concha.
Joe Concha. Joe Concha. 77 WABC.
All right, so I like to share things about myself. I want to, not everything, of course. Some things have to be left private, but I will say that my portfolio, I was just kind of going over it with my wife, kind of bragging a little bit. Now, it's hard not to brag. I mean, the stock market is heading towards 50,000 at this point. It is up. Let's put it this way. After Trump did Liberation Day on April 2nd as far as tariffs, and we were told, again, we were going to go into a recession. The stock market was going to crash. It's going to be 2008 all over again. The stock market went below 37,000 at that point. Now it's nearly at 50,000. I mean, that kind of jump in just a year when it was supposed to go the opposite direction is really incredible. So I'm not going to break my elbow here, patting myself in the back as far as, yay, my investments are going so well, because it's not exactly unpredictable what I've done. I have a lot of gold and silver through Goldline. Obviously, that's the way to go there. And that's up like an insane amount. You're talking like 65% on gold and about, 100 and something percent on silver, just in the past year. I mean, it's just skyrocketing. So that's easy. They're minerals. They're always safe. They always seem to go up. But then also, I have Apple. Okay, yay, Joe. Boy, what a genius to buy Apple. But it's up a lot, I mean, it just keeps going up and up and up. I have Broadcom. I have, let's see, Expedia has done very well for me, so that's nice. Then let's see, some offshore like drilling companies. They weren't doing so well during the first couple of months of Trump's presidency. I thought it would be the opposite effect, but now they're basically back to even, and they seem to be going like skyrocketing in the right direction. Obviously, Venezuela certainly is supporting that as well. I have one drone military company that they signed that big defense contract last week, so that was nice. So that's back to even and then some, so that's good. But most of it is a lot of just artificial intelligence stuff. I have a couple of funds that are just ETFs as far as artificial intelligence, and those are going great. Obviously, I have Google. That's going well, and I finally got my actual portfolio up. I have Microsoft. So I'm going through them all now, and it seems that if you have invested in AI, like NVIDIA, I have them as well, then you're probably pretty happy especially if you did it like 5 or 10 years ago. I love doing this. I'll do this live on the show right now. I'm going to ask my AI / chat GPT, what if I purchased NVIDIA 5 years ago for $10,000? All right, just throw that out there, okay? The answer, according to ChatGPT, if I bought $10,000 in NVIDIA stock 5 years ago in January of 2021, let's see, it would likely be worth $160,000 now. I'm not very good at math, but let's see. That is a large jump. $10,000 5 years ago, now $160,000. Not bad for doing nothing. Why am I bringing this all up? Because somebody sent me a video right before I came on the air, and it was me, and I'm going off on Gavin Newsom. I'm like, all right, well, I'm on Fox a couple times a day, and I probably did talk about Newsom, and I probably did go off on him because, well, how could you not? Highest homeless rate in the country, spent $18 billion on a train that was never built, like a whole like high-speed train, I believe it's between San Francisco and Los Angeles, and they never completed it. So where did the $18 million go? Obviously what happened with reservoirs being dry and fire hydrants being dry during those horrible fires a year ago, and only one home has been rebuilt since. That's not good. So I could go down the line as far as highest taxes in the country as far as income taxes are concerned, and just Newsom overall just being an absolute hypocrite when it came to everything COVID by taking his kids out of public school and putting them in private school while he shut down public schools for 2 years and made everybody wear masks and shut down businesses while he's going to the French Laundry. And this guy is probably the odds-on favorite to win the Democratic nomination. So, yeah, is there a video out there of me going off on Newsom like I just did? Probably. The problem is, so somebody says, you got to watch this, and I click on it, and it's me like in front of like these beautiful leather-bound books that probably smelled of rich mahogany. Like, it wasn't my normal set. My normal set in my basement or at Fox usually has like a city background or a newsroom background behind me, and this was like I was in like some sort of like really, really rich guy's house with a lot of like nice books behind me, and then I'm watching it and I'm listening. I'm like, I don't remember ever taping this. I would know if I did this. And it goes on for a long time. And apparently I'm going off on everything wrong with California. Now, I know California in terms of what I share with you, but if you want me to go into the nitty gritty, well, I don't live there as far as like local politics and very, very specific issues if you drill it down in deep dives. And yet this person, this AI creation, looks and sounds exactly like me. And I get it's a thing now, but when you see yourself in this position for the first time, you wonder, how'd they do that? So I sent it to my dad, who's listening right now, and I'll quote him exactly because I wanted him to be the test because he watches me probably more than most. And he says, very powerful. Any reaction? It's quite the accusation. Apparently, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I accused Newsom of some sort of like really, really bad, probably illegal wrongdoing. I didn't. The AI version of me did. And I wrote back, I go, I hate to tell you, but it was artificial intelligence. And he wrote back, he goes, that was you artificial? He goes, who would do such a thing? And that's the thing. I don't know. Who took the time to do an AI of me going off on Newsom? Like, I don't know. Touch grass. Like, go find a hobby, read a book, learn chess. I don't know. AI of me. So I'll play it tomorrow night because I didn't have time to get it to the producers to cut this, right? But my father also adds on another text that just came through. Unbelievable. Whoever did that did a great job. They did do a great job. My hair looks better, I got to say. There's not as many little grays sticking out, and my hairline's a little lower. So thank you, AI creator person who did this about me, because you made me, I think, look more like 34 than my age right now. You know, that's appreciated, but the voice is exactly the same. So that's how scary AI is. And I have a feeling during the elections that are coming up that we're going to have a situation where you're going to see AI videos and you're going to think that Trump is saying something or Newsom saying something, AOC saying something, J.D. Vance is saying something, and the video is going to seem so real, it could go viral. And the old saying is that a lie can go, halfway around the world before the truth can get its pants on? I think Churchill said that. But it's true, though, right? So that's how this is going to go, or you're going to see probably some videos that look totally real, sound totally real. They're not. But if enough people push them, by the time the exoneration comes, like, hey, he actually didn't say that, it may be not too late, but you know, the accusation always travels much faster than the exoneration. So just watch out for that. And I guess AI is a thing now, but again, kudos to the guy who did this, because you put me kind of in a good light. But then again, it's kind of creepy also that that's out there. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Joe Concha Show. All right, final break, and then we take this puppy home right after this on 77 WABC.
This is the Joe Concha Show, 77 WABC. It's the Joe Concha Show. Joe Concha. Joe Concha. Joe Concha. 77 WABC.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I mean, I used to hate Christian Laettner. I hate Christian Laettner. I respected him when he was at Duke. But I think I do hate Jacob Frey. Loathe. Yeah, probably a better word, because this guy continues to insist that because the ICE agent who shot Nicole Good wasn't injured, well, therefore he had no reason to shoot her, despite the fact that she drove her SUV into him. This is cut number 12. Go.
Don't take my word for it. Yeah. Don't take their word for it. Watch the video from every single angle.
I did.
I mean, the ICE agent walked away with a hip injury that he might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with his hips.
Oh, F you.
He was not injured.
He was not injured. Well, he could have been severely injured, like when he was dragged 100 feet by another illegal back in June, 33 stitches. 100 feet dragged by a car. And then this car drives into him. All right, hurt his hip. I'm sorry he wasn't run over completely. But his argument is that he shouldn't act in self-defense because he wasn't severely injured. So you could kind of hurt ICE officers now and police officers. Again, I'll say this. Get pulled over tomorrow. All right? And when you get pulled over and a police officer asks you to get out of the car, don't get out of the car. And if there's a police officer in front of your car, then just drive as fast as possible. And if he gets out of the way, well, I guess that's okay. You should be able to do that, according to Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who I hate. All right, I'll admit that. There we go. Meanwhile, here's Ilhan Omar, another lawmaker from Minnesota. Remind me never go to that state. I went over with my kids like how many states I've been to. Minnesota's not one of them. Let's keep it that way, okay? I don't care if the Bears are playing the Vikings. You give me like a full luxury suite. I'm a Bears fan. I'm not going. Ain't going. Not setting foot in that state. It's miserable. The weather there looks horrible. And those accents I can't quite take. But here's Ilhan Omar, speaking of accents, talking about Nicole Gooden. She was just sitting in her car. She was peacefully waving people to go by. No, really, she said this. Cut to, go.
Was blocking the road. They are claiming this is an act of terrorism.
Yeah, Renee Nicole Good, as you hear her say, she's not mad. She's sitting in her car, peacefully waving cars to get by. This agent, as you see, gets out of his car, automatically starts running towards her, trying to open her door. She feels scared. She tries to turn the wheel away, and then you see the other officer, who can clearly see the car is moving, move towards the front of the car, which, if they are saying that he has 10 years on service and is trained, he should know that you shouldn't be trying to get in front of a moving car.
It wasn't a moving car, you moron. The car was sitting still when he was in front of it. It was moving when she accelerated the gas after her girlfriend said, "Drive, baby, drive." But it wasn't moving at the time. This is a lawmaker. I mean, what did her brother ever see in her to marry somebody like that? I won't go there. Actually, I guess I just did. Anyway, this is basically how things are going as far as the type of Karens. You know, my daughter called them Karens. They look like Karens. They all look alike. Every protester. You know, since in Minneapolis, what was it 97% of the protesters are women? All of them need eyeglasses for some reason. All of them have probably never seen an actual hairdresser in their lives. All of them haven't been to a gym in years, from what it looks like, or they're in their second trimester. That's right. Probably most of them don't have children. I mean, it's loud, angry, liberal, white women that are leading this charge against ICE. Here's one, as a matter of fact, saying what she'd rather be doing, but can't because, well, she's just fighting Nazis, and boy, it's a burden. This is cut number 9. Go.
I would rather be at home smoking weed.
Uh-huh.
Yes. But why can't you be smoking weed right now? Because goddamn Nazis!
Oh.
Goddamn Nazis! Yes. And how long do you plan to be out here? Oh, we're actually headed back to the car. Yeah.
Rather be smoking weed, but I got to fight the Nazis. How long do you plan on doing this? Actually, we got to go warm up in the car right now. It's cold out here. Anyway, thanks so much to Brianna Lyman tonight, to my producer, Mr. Blaze, and to everybody. Phil, cut all that sound. Really appreciated that you heard tonight. We're back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern on WABC. Until then, bye-bye.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.